We good? Good morning, guys. Oh, uh, Brenda's Bible class. Who also missed Brenda's Bible class? Yes, the kids. Kids, y'all ready? He is risen. I heard Colton. Hey, are y'all ready? What? Better. That's good. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm sorry you came all this way to listen to me today, but I'm really glad that y'all are here. Today is a really special day that we all get to celebrate. Just Happy Resurrection Day, right? Wow, there we go. Maybe one more time. Maybe we should try that one more time. Like Happy Resurrection Day, right? Like, man, it's so good. But this is a big deal. Happy Easter. Welcome to Empty Graves. But I want to put this into perspective just a second, okay? I want y'all to know Jesus getting crucified is not a miracle, okay? So think about it this way. Mercy is what got me out of the cross. So when I deserved, anybody in here like struggle with making bad decisions? Anybody here sin? Anybody here do bad, evil? Okay, yeah, like that's all of us, right? So mercy is what got me out of having to face that punishment. So who went to the cross instead of me? Jesus. All right. Being crucified is not a miracle, but mercy is getting me out of the cross. Justice is my sins. The penalty was paid. It was taken out through Jesus Christ. But grace is Jesus's resurrection. Like, think about it this way. When Jesus died and he paid my penalty, when he took the punishment of my sins, you know what he could have done? He could have immediately gone to heaven. Right? Like, that's a possibility. But instead of staying dead, instead of just God being merciful, he got me out of the cross. Instead of God being a just God, he did pay the penalty. Like he said, if you do this, you're going to receive this. It's like, well, somebody's got to pay that. Jesus did it. He went a step further. He's like, no, Jesus, you're not coming back just yet. I want you to walk out of the grave because that is an extra gift that I want to give the whole world. So let's explain that just for a minute, okay? Think about this. All right, I've got a few, like these are kind of technical, difficult slides, and then it's going to get more, just more simple, more down to earth, more realistic. But I want you to think about this. What would it take for me to believe that Jesus' grave is actually empty? Okay? Everybody following along? That's a good question. In fact, the whole religion is built off of that Jesus' grave is empty to this day. All right, so it's kind of a big deal. So let's ask this question. What would it take for me to believe that? All right, here's one thing, is think about the plausibility of it all being a lie. Okay, have y'all ever lied in here? If you didn't raise your hand, welcome to the club. All right, we've all told a lie before, okay? And if you're ever like, somebody's like kind of putting you to the test, you know what you do? You just you give the least amount of information possible. Where were you last night? Yeah, I was out. All right, where did you go? To town. Where'd you go in town? To the square. What were you doing at the square? Right? And you just kind of keep, but you don't from the beginning. If you're lying, you don't just spill everything. You don't spill the beans. Okay, so think about how difficult it is to pull off a lie that Jesus did not actually raise from the dead. Okay? Y'all following along? All right, so think about this. All right, first of all, ladies, don't get offended, but this is how it used to be. First century, you could have gotten a fender bender, and you could have had a dozen female nurses that were standing watch and saw the whole thing. An officer's going to come up and he said, do we have any witnesses? And they'd be like, we all saw it happen. You know what's going to happen in the first century? They'd be like, oh, you're a woman. We don't care. Wow. Right? Who are the first people to see the empty tomb? Women. If you're telling a lie in the first century, you know who you don't put as the first people to see the empty tomb? The people that society does not give any credit to. Why would you tell a lie like that? Like, that's kind of a, you know what I mean? Like, where were you last night? The moon. You were at the moon? Like, why would you go there? Like, it's an unnecessary risk. All right, how about this? The Romans, not the Jews, were in charge. Think about it from this standpoint. The Jews were anticipating that the Messiah is coming, right? Okay. So, like, if you didn't know this, the Jews were not in charge of the country at the time. Like, there's a whole different nation that is ruling over everybody. Like, you're allowed to live under my conditions, is what Rome is saying. Okay, so think about the difficulty, or to take it a few steps further. Like, you know how they put a soldier in charge of guarding the tomb? Y'all know over in Virginia, there's the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Y'all ever, you know, and it's like around the clock. I mean, imagine somebody being like, there's somebody guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and we're going to find a way to convince this army guy to just forsake it all. And at worst, the penalty of death. You know, since, I don't know the exact date, y'all bear with me, like 1932 or whenever it was that the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier started, like, it's never stopped, right? Like, in roughly 100 years, not once we haven't been able to convince one of those guys to just forsake it for a second, right? Like, that's a living fact in our country. You can go over to Virginia where they're guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and nobody's trying, like, nobody would dare, like, hey, let's see if we can kick them off the routine. You got a Roman soldier who's guarding Jesus' tomb at the penalty of, if you lose, you die. And what happens? Somehow Jesus gets out of there? That's kind of interesting. And here's another thing. Think about Jesus and 12 guys. Well, minus Judas. Jesus and 11 guys. You're telling me you pick anybody in this county plus 11 more people, and you think they can conquer a Roman Empire? Like, just create a revolt and not get squandered. And not just that. It's not just the Romans that are against him. Remember specifically who crucified Jesus besides the Romans? The Jews themselves. Like, there's nobody on Jesus' side, relatively speaking. It is like such a small group, and you're like, hey, we think we can win this battle. Like, you're insane. There's no chance. All right, think about it this. You don't die for a lie. What happened to all the apostles? They all died for their faith. You don't die for a lie. Like, if it's a lie at some point, what are you going to do? You're going to crack. All right? They all died for their faith. Here's another thing. This is a good question. If Jesus was a lie, if Jesus being resurrected from the dead was a lie, if all of Christianity, like the whole thing was a lie, what is the motive? Like, how does Jesus, okay, like, are y'all motivated by money? I'm motivated by money, right? Like, you know, if somebody's like going to pay me to do a job, and they're like, hey, I'll double your pay. I'm like, I'll be there right now. Yesterday, in fact, I'm there. Right? Like, money, it does stuff. Right? How much money does Jesus make off of getting crucified? You see what I'm saying? Which country does Jesus inherit? Which palace does he get to go live in? Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, just think about, like, there isn't really a sufficient motive. Jesus and his followers didn't get anything sufficient to the lie. Like, if I'm going to die for my faith, I better be getting something good for it, right? If I'm going to die for this lie, like, you better be, like, saving my family, or they're always going to be taken care of, or I've got, y'all see what I'm saying? Okay, so just think about it. What would it take for me to believe that Jesus' grave is empty? How hard of a lie would it be to pull off? Like, we're not even done. Hang on. Let's just think about the trustworthiness, okay? Here's something I like to think about every once in a while. Like, man, if I only had better evidence. Guys, if you had a video of Jesus walking out of the tomb today, would you trust it? in this day and age, with AI and everything else and Photoshop and blah, 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 like sometimes I think we need to be careful about what our expectations are. Like, oh, well, I would believe if I saw a video of it happening. Would you? I've seen videos of Levi, like 280 pounds of nothing but muscle. And it is him, that guy. It's all AI. Like, it's not real, okay? Huh? Yeah. No, not that picture. We don't need anything else to make your head. All right. So, like, like, would I believe video evidence? Okay, so then I really need to start asking, like, what kind of evidence would I need to believe that the tomb is actually empty? Like, what would it actually take for me to believe that? And so you got to start like, okay, let me play this on its own terms. Of the time that this happened, what is good evidence of the time that this happened? Right? Okay, so think about this. Multiple credible sources documented that he appeared in front of people after his resurrection. That would be Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and if you want to call it Second Luke, the book of Acts. And you're like, oh, well, those are all like Christian people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you still have to consider them as a piece of historical document. How do they compare to other historical documents of the day and age? Like, are they worthy and credible sources, or are they fake news? Okay, well, let me show you this slide real quick. I've shown you this before. Wes Huff, I think he went on Joe Rogan's podcast. It was a really great episode. You should watch it. Like, the emperor during the time of Jesus, Tiberius, there are 4 sources that wrote about him. I'm really going to ruin those, but you see those in green. There's like Tacitus, whatever, Cassius, Dio. I don't even know if I'm saying those right. Okay, so like we live in an age of like over information. Like, you can find information about information. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of information. If you go to the library back in the 1st century and you're like, I'm going to read a book today, you've got like 5 choices. Y'all see what I'm getting at? Like, there's not a lot of content that's out there. The only other similar amount, like volume of content that records a single person that lived in the 1st century, so there's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that record about Jesus. And who is the other person that has recorded that much content about a single person that lived in human history? The emperor. That's like your Facebook posts get the same amount of views as the president's posts. Like, no, there's no way. There's no chance that happens unless what? Unless this is like a credible person and thing that happened. It's insane that we even have physical documents from that long ago. All right, but let me go back. Just put that into perspective. You can go find this stuff online. It is insane how much content and how accurate the content is for Jesus compared to like the emperor. It's crazy. All right, how about this? People have tried to disprove the Bible's reliability. Y'all know that? Like, people have gone out of their way to like, I hate this Christian thing. I'm going to disprove it. You've got like Sir William Ramsey. I know we've talked about him before. He specifically went after the book of Luke because it had the most amount of details to fact check. Like, Luke has more persons, places, dates, events, numbers, things like that. And so guess what he did? He went on a trip to Asia Minor, and he's like, I'm going to see this place that they call, Thessalonica. Like, does that place even exist? Or this so-and-so that was in power for these many years, let's see if that even exists. And guess what happens at the end of his search? Where you could determine the answer of true or false, where there was an answer that you could find out the truth to it, every one of them was true. Then you've got, you can go look these up. You've got Lee Strobel, if that's how you say his name, Gilbert West, C.S. Lewis, big important guy. A lot of people that have sought out to prove that, like, there's no way that the tomb is really empty, because the Bible is just, it's a made up, there's just a bunch of old guys sitting around a campfire They just kind of wrote this story down and it's just not real. Okay, well, you take some of the greatest minds and you put them on the task of figuring that out, and guess what some of the greatest minds say? There's not a more legally proven document than what you find in the Bible. That's something to think about. All right. Okay, and here's maybe one of the best things. Man, the only example I just came up with is like way too political and would get me thrown out. I can't use that. No, it's Josh. No. I mean, I've said some crazy things. I don't need to go there. All right, I can't give a good example, but just think about this, guys. If you're the Roman Empire and you're allowing this group of people called the Jews to live in your towns and stuff, and like y'all can still kind of have your cultures and your customs and do your way of living, but like you got to pay taxes to Caesar. You got to do what we tell you to do, right? If we have a soldier that sees one of you and he wants you to carry his gear for a mile, what do you got to do? You got to do it because you're living under Roman control. And one of the things you got to remember is nobody challenges the king. You want to make claims that you're a king, what's going to happen? People are getting killed. Babies are getting killed. Because the emperor's going to make sure that nobody challenges his throne. Right? Y'all see what I'm saying? So, Pontius Pilate writes above Jesus's cross, "Here lies Jesus, King of the Jews." Oh, wow. That's right there. Thank you, Jim. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And they even threatened Pilate with like, dude, he wants to be king. Do you want that to get back to Caesar? What's going to happen to your job if Caesar finds out that somebody is trying to become king? Are y'all following? All right, now here's where we kind of run into here's the punchline. If there is a fanatic cult, a group of people that are crazy, they're crazy. You're like, I go to church with them. If there's a group of crazy people that claims that this dude is the king of all kings and the king of the universe, he's the son of God himself, and you're like, you're nuts. You're like, no, I can prove he's the son of God. How can you prove that Jesus is the son of God? I can prove it to you because y'all crucified him, right? Yeah. Well, he's not in the tomb anymore. And if the word on the street, if like Jesus and his followers and his disciples becoming apostles and a group of 500, Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15, if there are hundreds of people who have seen Jesus walking after he was crucified, what do the Romans have to do to be able to just squander this whole uprising? What do you have to do? Just be like, no, hang on. All right, listen. What we got to do, Brenda? It's very simple, guys. We know where we buried him. Just go to the tomb, pull the body out, put it on display, back on a cross if you want to. They're famous for doing that. Let the whole world know, nope, Jesus of Nazareth is still dead. He is not your king. Caesar is your king. And guess what the whole Roman Empire did not do? They never produced a body. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so here's where we're going to start to shift. What would it take for me to believe that Jesus' grave is empty? Maybe you're like not a big historian, you're not a big reader, you're not a big like deep thinker and all that stuff. For me, this is where I land. That's why I only put one bullet point. What would it take for me to believe Jesus' grave is empty is people actually overcoming sin because of Jesus. Because if Jesus' whole thing is about overcoming sin, but people aren't actually doing it, then what? I think Jesus is fake. But if you're telling me that you actually have conquered your spiritual battles and the turmoil that is fighting in your heart, that is proof to me that the tomb really is empty. That's the best proof. The one thing that Jesus wanted to bring to the world, if that's actually happening today, I want some of that. All right, so let's talk about that. Why would it matter if Jesus' grave was empty? All right, here's a few things. Because no one has ever overcome sin and death before. Nobody's ever overcome that. All right. Oh man, this is a good quote. Y'all ready? It's a really simple. It's a dumb quote, but it's a good quote. All right. If you can quit your addiction, you're not addicted. Right? Yes. Come on, this is good, guys. If you can quit your addiction, you're not addicted. All right. Is there anybody who can overcome their own addiction? The answer to that is no. Because if you could quit your own addiction, you wouldn't be addicted. Right? I mean, this is profound right now, guys. Okay? So has anybody overcome their addiction on their own? Like, I know what I'm going to do this time. This time, I'm just going to do this, and it's going to be different. Does that work for people? No. Y'all know why? Because where's the problem? I'm the problem. It's me. That hurts. No one has ever overcome sin on their own. Here's something else. All right. Oh, this is great. This actually works out today. Pictures. Anybody here take group pictures? Family photos? All right, y'all awake? Let's try that one more time. I know. Has anybody in here ever taken a group picture? Like, okay, a group picture larger than 10 people in a picture? Oh, is that way too small? Like, anything larger than 50 people in one picture? All right, they're getting pretty big. Okay, all right, we're just going to stop there. Y'all listen, okay? This is how my dumb brain thinks. Y'all are going to make fun of me, but just this is how my brain thinks. If you're taking a group photo and you've got 100 people trying to take this photo, right? And you're like, we've hired a photographer. He's coming out here. It's going to be $600 for him to get a group photo of us. And you're like, man, that's a lot of money, but you know what? It'll be worth it. And he comes out here and he gets up on his ladder and we're all standing out there in this nice pile. And he says, y'all ready? Yeah, we're ready. Tim, go ahead. And he's like, on the count of 3, we're going to take a picture. 1, 2, 3, takes a picture. You've had over 100 people trying to take a picture at the same time. He takes a picture. 1, 2, 3, takes a picture. One picture. He gets down off his ladder. He's like, all right, I'll email it to you. That'll be $600. What are you probably going to tell him? Yeah, why do you want to see it, Robert? Why do y'all want, hang on. Can I see that real quick? Why? Why do you want to check it out? Come on, guys. What? Because chances are that you got everybody looking at the same time. Like, there's no way. Have you ever seen children before? Like, no, it's not going to happen. So you know what happens? You're like, hang on, let me see this picture real quick. You check it out, and if you don't like it, what do, church? You redo it. You delete it. This is how dumb my brain works, okay? If our badness, if our looking bad, okay, physical to spiritual application, if our badness doesn't count for anything, then why do we try to hide it? Why is there a delete photo button on your phone if you don't want to delete photos that you don't like? Because there's something about it that you don't like, right? You want to hide it. You want to get rid of it. Like, no, I don't want that picture. That's not my good angle. Here, use this one. Right? Like, oh, no, we got to redo that. I've got a double chin. You've always got a double chin. Like, y'all know what I'm saying? Like, hey, can you use your little computer doohickey and, like, get rid of those wrinkles? Y'all know what I'm saying? Why do we do that? Because we want to hide our badness. We don't take a picture of, like I've done this before. Like, it's really fun to take a picture of Kelsey while she's sleeping or something. She's like, like, oh, right? Have y'all ever heard ladies say, like, hang on, I got to go put my face on? Right? Why do you do that? Because you have a thing about, like, not you, all of us. We want to hide our badness. We want to delete the photo. We want to get the one that looks good, right? Because badness, it counts for something. Otherwise, we wouldn't delete it. Otherwise, we wouldn't want to hide it. And you know what sin, let me rephrase that. You know what my sin likes to do? My sin likes to hide in the dark. My sin does not want to come to the light. Because what happens when my sin comes to light? It gets exposed. And I don't want people to see. I want my sin to stay in the dark. I want to delete my sin. I want to hide my sin. I want to cover it up. I don't want to have to face my sin. It's impossible. Okay. So here's kind of the cool thing is, all right, so why does it matter if Jesus' grave is empty? Because it's proof that God is here to help you. Are y'all soaking that in for a minute? Y'all remember we talked about like people's motives? What does Jesus get out of this? Does Jesus get money? Does Jesus get like all these women that are in love with him? Does he get some special fame and fortune? Does he get some palace? Like, what does Jesus get out of it? All it proves is that Jesus Christ here for you. Jesus doesn't get anything out of it. It's just here to prove that God came to help you. Okay. And then here's the last thing, is that Jesus walking out of the tomb is proof that there is life after sin has been killing you. One more time. Jesus walking out of the tomb is proof that there is still life to be had even after sin has been killing you. Did sin kill Jesus? It killed him. It wasn't even his own sin. Yeah, okay. Let's just, don't raise your hand, okay? You don't have to raise your hand. I'm going to ask a really personal question. Do not raise your hand, okay? Have you ever said this in your head in one way or another? My sin is killing me. Like I hate what my decision making is doing to me. Killing me. It's just killing me. You know how bad that feels for like one sin or two or three sins? You know how many sins Jesus had to feel when he was on the cross? The sin of the entire world. Okay, so if Jesus can be killed by the sin of the entire world, and then he can still have a life after that, what does that mean for me? It means I can too. Jesus is not just proof, if you put your faith in him, that you get to physically be raised from the dead. Because he was physically raised from the dead. Anybody here scared of dying? Like, dying is a little intimidating. Like, man, I'd love to have a death plan. You know? Like, what are we going to do? I'd love to be like, hey, I ain't got to worry about that because I got Jesus. That'd be great. Let me ask you this. If you had to live in your sin, miserable, like being killed by your sin each and every day for the rest of your life, but you got to live forever, like, well, I'm going to live after I die, but gee whiz, I'd sure love to like enjoy this life a little bit more while I'm here. All right, so Jesus is not just proof of you can be resurrected from physical death. I will give that to you. You will breathe again, folks. But he is also proof that you can spiritually live after death, like after dealing with your sins. You know, like, you remember what happened with Jesus in the garden? Like when he was praying? And you remember what perspired from his forehead? Blood. Because why, guys? Anxiety. He is stressed out to the max. He is terrified because he knows what's going to happen. What's going to happen? They are going to kill me. And it's not going to be quick. It's going to be a slow and terrible and agonizing death. And man, am I not looking forward to that. Like, he knew that was coming, right? So he goes through all that. What happens after he's raised from the dead? Do we see him sweating drops of blood anymore? Why not? Because he knows what? He will never be crucified for sin ever again. Are y'all making this connection? Because this is a really big deal. All right. Why does it matter that Jesus' grave is empty? It matters because Jesus is not only trying to communicate to you all that you all can live again after you physically die, he's also trying to communicate to you that you can spiritually live again after you spiritually die. Because if I'm going to live, there's some things that need to die. You know that song? Because if I'm going to live, there's some things that need to die. And as soon as you are ready to kill yourself spiritually, you get to start living. He said, pick up your cross daily and follow me. Crucify self every day. And buddy, you think dying is bad. Dying is living. Because doing what I was doing didn't work. If I could quit my addiction, I wouldn't be addicted. Right? But the problem is me. So, here's the thing. My badness counts for something, right? Like taking pictures. And what do you want to do when something looks bad? You're like, I want to get rid of that. My badness does count for something. Otherwise, I would keep all those photos in my phone. But the things that I don't like, I want to get rid of, right? Because that badness bothers me. Seeing me in a negative light and seeing the real me and the extra curves and the stretch marks and the, you know what I'm saying? And the tight yoga pants. And you're like, man, this stuff is, whoo, I don't like that. I want to get rid of that. That's what, because badness counts for something. But here's the cool part, is once my badness doesn't count for anything anymore, I don't have to hide it. Unashamed. Once Jesus solves my badness thing, now I don't care. You can take whatever picture you want to, any time of day, any angle, any light, while I'm chowing down on a chicken leg. Wonderful. Now I don't care, because it's been taken care of. All right, here's the last slide. We're done, okay? This is a good quote. You're telling me dead men can live again? That sounds pretty good to me. Like that's the gospel. Why does the empty tomb matter? So you're telling me the dead men can walk again? The dead men can live a fulfilling life, an abundant life? Okay, I'm in. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Right? Man, that's a good quote. I think that's a long amen. Let's wrap it up, Will. All right. Guys, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Welcome to Empty Graves. You know what that means? This is a group full of people that should be trying to kill the old self and leave the old self in the tomb. And what comes out of the tomb is the new self. And how is the new self different? The new self is different because the old self had sin crucified and then it's nailed on the cross. And you can't get nails out of that cross. But when I come out of this empty tomb, the dead self, the new guy that's coming out, sin is no longer on me. My sin is gone. Thank God, my sin is gone. All right, so the question is there anybody here today that their sin is killing you? It's as simple as that. Like, do you have those thoughts of like, my sin is killing me. I hate what is happening to me. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. I've tried fixing my addiction on my own, but guess what? I can't fix my addiction because who's the problem? Me. I'm the problem. The only way I'm getting out of this thing is if I get somebody else to help me. And that somebody else is Jesus Christ. He is the guy that can help you. Okay, so is there anybody here today that sin is killing them? Maybe it's time to fight back, except this time, you're going to fight back with the commander of the Lord's army. I think you're going to have better chances, guys. Maybe this time I'm not going to try to fight back on my own will and on my own self-control and on my own power and on my own deeds. I'm going to fight back with Jesus Christ. Good luck, Satan. In fact, here's something else you know. Satan can't keep killing a man that's already dead. Hey, that'd be one more good quote and amen if y'all wanted to build my confidence a little bit. Okay, Satan can't keep killing a man that's already dead, right? Satan, you can't keep killing me, dude. You can't keep dragging me down because I'm dead. Like, what? That's crazy. Yeah, that's what it takes. What does Jared say? Like, there's only one thing that's got to change. Only one thing. That's the good news. All right, what's the one thing? Everything. Wait, what? There's only one thing that you got to change. Everything. Satan, you can't keep killing me because if you try to come after me, that guy's dead. That guy is in the watery tomb. You come after me now you're coming after Jesus Christ. Because I've been crucified with Jesus. It's no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Good luck. You can take Jesus on anytime you want. I'm picking Jesus. So why does it matter that the tomb is empty? You need to leave this room answering these two questions, okay? I know I said I was going to shut up. I'm sorry. Hang on. I got to go back. Listen, you need to leave this room answering these two questions. What would it take for me to believe that Jesus' grave is empty? If you are willing to leave this room and do a simple Google search, all right? Pull up some information online. You can have this stuff at your fingertips before you leave this building. If you're not willing to do at least a little bit of work, then you don't even deserve Jesus, okay? But you need to ask this question. What would it take for me to believe that Jesus' grave is actually empty? Okay, is it a lie problem? Like, I think it's all a scam? Is it something about, like, how can I trust the Bible? Like, are these guys trustworthy? Is it something about, the motive behind why stuff would happen? That's up to you, okay? And then you need to ask this question. Why does it matter if Jesus' grave is empty? If I can come to believe that his tomb is really empty, why does that matter? You have to answer those two questions before you leave this earth, okay? Like, you got to know. You got to know. Because you're telling me that dead man can live again, that sounds pretty good to me. I'd love to have some of that. So we're going to stand and sing this song. Low in the grave you lay. That's an old song, but a goodie. And I want y'all to try to think about why it actually matters that we sing this song. You can sing about heaven all day long. You can sing about Moses, Abraham. You can sing about the prophets. You can sing about the good commandments of the Lord. You can sing about whatever you want to sing about, okay? But the most important thing that Christians should ever sing about is that the tomb is empty. Because if the tomb is empty, what is the quote? Anything is possible. If the tomb is empty, anything is possible. The tomb is actually empty. What if you could actually be freed from your sin? Think about that. Like, if there's a chance there's a life-saving cure out there, there's a chance. You got to look into it. You got to know. You got to know. Let's stand and sing.